India is on a high growth path. The approach paper to the 11th plan emphasizes that rapid economic growth is essential to reduce poverty. Urban centers are increasing in numbers and size. The Indian population is growing exponentially. From 1,155 million in 2008, it is projected to become 1,470 million by 2030. The urban population is expected to grow from 290 million to 590 million by 2030. It is approximately 30% of the total population today and is likely to become 40% by 2030. The scale of urban expansion will bring unprecedented multiple pressures on the environment. Both income growth and population growth are drivers of increasingly energy-related CO2 emissions. According to a UNFCCC report, cities account for roughly 75% of global energy consumption and 80% of greenhouse gas emissions. Greenhouse gas emissions in the Indian cities could increase from 230 million tons in 2005 to 1.6 billion tons by 2030. India needs to substantially increase its per capita energy consumption to provide a minimally acceptable level of well-being to its people. In our efforts to grow as a rich nation, India must urgently pay attention to the climate change issues and build it into all its development efforts. United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, or the UNFCCC, refers to climate change as a change of climate that is attributed directly or indirectly to human activity that alters the composition of the global atmosphere. An increase of 0.4 degrees centigrade has been observed in our surface temperature. There has been a rise of sea level at the rate of 1.06 to 1.75 millimeters per year. The Himalayan glaciers are under threat. The river systems of Brahmaputra, Indus and Ganges are likely to suffer from decrease in snow cover. There is an increased salt intrusion threat. The precipitation patterns are likely to change. The distribution of important vector species may get altered, leading to diseases spreading into newer areas. There may be a large impact on forests and biodiversity, and the quality of fruits and vegetables may get significantly affected. The incidence of extreme weather conditions like cyclones, floods and droughts may also increase. Throughout the world, there is a realization of the need and urgency of taking action for mitigation and adaptation to climate change. The UNFCCC, IPCC, and several other international organizations are all meeting regularly to address this issue. India is a signatory to the UNFCCC and has recently announced its National Action Plan on Climate Change, the NAPCC. Kolkata is one of the climate change hotspots in the world and is given a vulnerability rating of 7 on 10. It tops in the list of gross CO2 emissions in India. These impacts will only grow in the time horizon of 2050 as the city population rises and with it comes increasing development and urbanization in a metropolis which has already grown and sprawled, largely in an unplanned way. Unless we agree to act. The time is now.
The city depends very heavily on surface water supply from the river Hooghly. We have a long-term scarcity problem and short-term oversupply problem. Food security through water supply is one item that Ganga Basin might face in the event of a relatively quick decline in the surface water supply. This city is going to expand very, very rapidly in the coming few decades, and its transportation system needs to again be based on the original arithmetic of person carried per kilometer, what is the effect on the carbon dioxide production.
According to the Kolkata Metropolitan Development Authority's plans for Kolkata 2025, it will be building 2 ring roads amounting to some 200 kilometers of new roads, 3 new satellite townships in Howrah, Dankuni, Baruipur, and there is of course the new development of 5,000 hectares in Rajarhat and the new town developments. Now, to give an idea of the changes to the built environment that we can expect to see in the next 10 to 20 years. In 2000, there was just 5 million square foot of floor space, both commercial as well as residential, built in the city. By 2005, this had risen to nearly 20 million square feet of floor space, and by 2010, according to the Confederation of Real Estate Development Association, it forecast that a gigantic 250 million square feet of space will be built in the greater Kolkata area.
A blind faith in growth without describing qualitatively the nature of that growth is a major problem. I always give this example that when the British established Kolkata, they left the Maidan open. And now we say that is the lung of the city. Now we are running a city which is of the size of an elephant with the lung of a 1-year-old child. We have not created any new lung. We have only enhanced the size of the baby to a size of a large elephant. And that elephant is diseased, as we know from all the statements here. So that is what has to be qualified. Is the growth socially equitable? And is the growth ecologically sustainable?
I would also like to say, above all, we need some sort of vision for this city.
The river Ganga meets the Bay of Bengal in a maze of rivulets and islands, forming the world's largest mangrove of delta. This is the Sundarbans. Its ecological futility and the dangers it faces today are a matter of mounting concern. Already 19,000 acres of forest land has been submerged. The future of many islands of the Sundarbans is uncertain. These changes have also given rise to a new human phenomena, the emergence of the ecological refugee. As more and more people lose their lands and livelihoods, they are moving towards a city such as Kolkata, adding to the already intense urban pressure there.
If you see the ability to emit greenhouse gases, Sundarbans is probably among the cleanest in the world. Yet they are getting a disproportionately high impact on their livelihoods, their natural resource systems. And this is the unique picture of a global change where the suffering of the greenhouse effect, human-induced greenhouse effect, and the root cause of the increased greenhouse gas pollution is not spatially linked, it is globally linked. What I want to stress here is that India is on the verge of coming to the list of countries where it cannot increase its greenhouse gas emission anymore under the Kyoto Protocol. We are, with China, on the verge of crossing the limit where in the list of countries we can still go ahead, but in few years we will be in the list where we cannot anymore increase our greenhouse gas emission.